Up? Welcome back to Trashman MMA, where today I just thought we'd have a little bit of fun and go over a topic that I think is, intriguing to say the least. And that is the death of the fighting nerds. A little over dramatic, a little over the top. But look, when you really think about it, one of the most surging gyms in the UFC as of recent, the fighting nerds, they all, as at one point, they seemed invincible. And now, with recent fights, with recent defeats, and upcoming matchups, it's hard to feel the same way. It's hard to imagine that same undefeated, mystique about them. And that's just what today's video is about. As you can see, or as we all watched the defeat of Carlos Prates at the hands of Lima Bean Jab Ian Gary. Shout out Lucas Tracy. And with two upcoming matchups, with Kyle Borralho facing Nasruddin Imavov, the number one ranked contender in the middleweight division in Paris, France. Not too sure when. His one of his most no his most his toughest matchup yet, and with Gene Silva facing recently announced Diego Lopes at the main event of UFC. Where is it being held? Austin, Texas, for Noche UFC, American-based company, by the way. I don't see a fucking 4th of July card being held. But anyways, Gene Silva facing Diego Lopes for Noche UFC sometime in September 13th, I guess. Main event. And Mauricio Rufy. No fight announcements yet after his KO of the century over Bobby Green. I just, Mauricio Rufy is an interesting one because with everybody else, generally speaking, with everybody else, minus Carlos Prates, so just with Kyle Borralho and Gene Silva, I can see them becoming champions. But with Carlos Prates and Mauricio Rufy, not even because Carlos Prates lost, but even before that, I think we can all agree that those two just seem to be the worst out of the bunch, And when I say worst, I'm saying that lightly. They're not trash, they're not bad, they're not awful. But I just think out of all the four, if you had to rank them, Carlos Prates and Mauricio Rufy would be at the tail end of that list, where I think Gene Silva and Kyle Borralho would be at the upper echelon. So I don't see Mauricio Rufy really going far. I can't see Mauricio Rufy losing to an unranked fighter, whereas I can't see a Carlos Prates losing to an unranked fighter. I can see Mauricio Rufy in a world. Imagine this. In a world, I can see him losing to Grant Dawson. Like, come on. I know you guys can see this. I know you guys can see this with me. I know I'm not delusional. Yes, you can say, freaking Grant Dawson got knocked out by a jab by Bobby Green. Yes, it was a hard jab. No, I'm joking. But I think we've just seen too little of Mauricio Rufy to really rate him properly. Whereas we've seen Carlos Prates in some relatively high-level fights. Obviously he just fought Ian Gary, where he did lose, but it was I'm not even going to say it was a close and competitive match. He kind of just got... he got outdone and outperformed that entire fight up until the final 5 minutes, where he nearly had a TKO over Ian Gary, but Ian Gary was able to fucking slime and worm his way out of it. But I don't know. I see a world where all the fighting nerds can and will be coming off of losses. I can see Kyle losing. I can see Gene Silva losing. I can see Mauricio Rufy losing an up-and-coming fight soon, at the hands of someone, of an unranked fighter at that. I think the lightweight division is a very stacked kill or be killed division, and I think he's very frail and skinny for the division as well. I think if somebody is able to get their hands on him, they can muscle him around. Same thing with Carlos Pratas as well. Carlos Pratas does not cut a lot of weight. He's very, yeah, very frail. Like, I think the same thing would have happened to Carlos Pratas if you put Carlos Pratas up against a Usman. I think Usman would have had that same performance, dominant performance over Buckley. I feel like he would have had that same performance against Carlos Pratas. I think these guys are just kind of frail. Whereas Kyle Borralho, Gene Silva, they're actually more built into their division. But let's just go over the matchups more in depth. Nasruddin Imavov versus Kyle Borralho for the number one contender spot. Nasruddin Imavov is on an absolute tear right now. He's on a 4-fight win streak, or is it a 5-fight win streak? Oh yeah, he fucking eye poked Chris Curtis. But Chris Curtis was losing that fight, to be honest. But he's on a 4-fight win streak. His most recent win, a second round KO over Israel Adesanya. Now, I can't believe they are snubbing this man out of a title shot. I can't believe they're giving it to a man with one ranked win in the division. I can't believe that this is... I know this is a fucking popularity contest, but come on. He knocked out the former champ Israel Adesanya, dude. And you can say, oh, but Hamza Chimaev got a fluke rear naked choke over fucking Robert Whittaker. Bro, Izzy has 2 wins over Robert. Robert just lost to freaking the champ. All Robert Whittaker has done in the past few years is lose to Dricus du Plessis, beat Paulo Costa, and beat an unranked bum who I can't even remember his name on short notice. Are we still rating a Robert Whittaker win as a number one, as a title shot? Robert Whittaker is still a title shot worthy win. Whereas in Israel Adesanya, who beat Robert Whittaker twice, he's not. You knock him out in the second round. He's not a title shot. You don't get a title shot off that. That's crazy. And let alone he has a win over Brendan Allen, which was an extremely lackluster fight. I don't even want to talk about that fight, to be honest. That shit was ass. An impressive win over a Cannonier where he kind of outdogged Cannonier. Say what you will about the stoppage, what I think is everybody thought was extremely controversial. Say what you will about it. He outdogged him. He was kind of outlasting Cannonier. Cannonier was kind of... Cannonier, the first few rounds were somewhat competitive. I remember Nasruddin Imavov still edging out most of them. But in the later rounds, you've seen Imavov really come alive. He dropped Cannonier multiple times. Or I think he dropped him once and then had him extremely... hurt extremely bad in some of the exchanges after. And before that, a win over Roman Dolidze, which is a majority win. I ain't even gonna talk about that, bro. I don't even want to talk about that. But extremely dangerous for Kyle Borralho. What is not what has Kyle Borralho done, but it's going to be a tough matchup. Can I bring up Kyle Borralho's record? I can't bring up Kyle Borralho his record, but he where is it at? No, don't want to talk about that. Yeah, let's just pull this up. Borralho, in his last few fights, who has he beaten? He beat Jared Cannonier about a year ago. That was his last fight. Jared Cannonier about a year ago, where he got nearly finished him. Honestly, you could make the fucking argument that fight should have been fucking stopped in that 5th round, where he's pushing Jared Cannonier's face into the fucking corner of the canvas and just kind of wailing on him. Could make the argument that fight should have been stopped. But he went to a tough fight with Jared Cannonier. And before that, I believe he got a win over Paul Craig. And before that, fuck if I know, dude. Fuck if I know. Kyle Borralho, the most inactive fighting nerd of all time. He fights once a year. I mean, you look at every single one of his teammates, they came into the UFC like 2 years ago, and they're already nearly matching him on the amount of fights have. Kyle Borralho has been in the UFC since like 2020. All of his teammates like 2023, and they're already fucking catching up to him. I'm pretty sure Gene Silva has like 5, maybe 6 wins already in the UFC. We'll check that right now. But yeah, this is an insanely tough matchup for Kyle Borralho. I can see Nasruddin Imavov getting it done, but I also can see a world where Kyle Borralho outdoes him in the 4th and 5th. Maybe if he edges out one of the earlier rounds, he can get it done. But that's going to be a real hard ask when they're fighting in France, Nasruddin home territory. And go check out the fucking videos that they have on their Instagrams, dude. Kyle Borralho dropped a fire video, just a little promo video, and so did Nasruddin Imavov, where he steps on some glasses. He says, I want to be a superstar. I want to be the best. Some bullshit like that. Both hard promo videos. I can't wait for this fight. I can't wait for this main event. This shit's sick. Those promo videos got me even more hyped. Genuinely go watch them. They're freaking dope. But let's get out of this one. Let's go to this. Diego Lopes versus Gene Silva headlining Noche UFC later this year. Pretty far away, honestly. September. It's like 3 months away. What a fight. This is good and bad for multiple reasons. One, you saw it. Aaron Pico Movsar Evloev is taking on Aaron Pico, and Yair Rodriguez is absolutely nowhere to be found right now. So that is dangerous. Me and everybody else were all hoping please God, if they make Yair Rodriguez versus Volkanovski too, bro, I genuinely don't know what I'd do. If Volkanovski flukes a win over, or if Rodriguez flukes a win over Volkanovski, I don't know what I would do with my life. I don't know what I'd do. I think I might cry that night. I know emotions run high, but that might actually be the first time I go to bed crying. I probably won't even make a recap video. I would genuinely just cry if that happened. I would sit in my own tears, bawling, a snot running down my face, smeared all over my fucking face and everything. But Aaron Pico versus Movsar Evloev is confirmed for Abu Dhabi. 5 rounds. I mean, I am expecting Movsar to win. I hope Movsar win. I don't care about Aaron Pico whatsoever. I don't care about him, his name, or his brand, or whatever the fuck he's got going on. I don't care about him whatsoever. I want Movsar to get a title shot, and I want it to be against Volkanovski. Worst case scenario, they just kind of put Volkanovski on the shelf and kind of just wait this one out. Even though it's in July, so yeah, it won't be that bad of a wait, but make them do a quick turnaround and fight a few months later. Fight Volkanovski a few months later, which is what I'm expecting them to happen. I think Volkanovski would have been able to get 2 fights in this year if there was a pay-per-view in September, but now that there's not, I think that's a stretch. So with that being said, with that being done, and this being booked, it is scary for Yair Rodriguez. Prime time for him to get a title shot. So we're all hoping that doesn't happen. But again, this is a... Did I pull it up? I didn't pull it up. This is a dangerous matchup for Gene Silva. But it's also a dangerous matchup for Diego Lopes. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's going to be a one-sided beatdown from either way. I think Diego Lopes struggles with smaller fighters. You've seen it with the Volkanovski. You've seen it with his Dana White Contender Series fight over that one guy. I forgot his name, but it's like Shark. I believe he has a tattoo of a shark on him somewhere. I'm trying to remember his name, but his name isn't. It's not coming to me. It's not coming back. But Diego Lopes does have a tendency to struggle with smaller fighters. The only time that he really showed that he didn't, was against extremely lower level fighters like Pat Sabatini and Sadiq Youssef. It's like, yeah, those are smaller fighters, but just because you're small doesn't mean you're going to give Diego Lopes a run for his money. Silva is quick. He might be quicker than Lopes. I think his defense is a lot better. Lopes leaves his chin up a lot. He leaves himself defensively open a lot. I think Diego Lopes would be able to get the better of Silva in scrambles, but even then, Silva is so much smaller and compact that I believe he would be able to kind of just brute force his way out of said scrambles. But even then, since this is a 5-round main event, Silva might gas, and Diego Lopes has showed to have a good gas tank like he did in against Volkanovski. Showed a decent gas tank there. Whereas we haven't really seen Silva in deep waters, but it's like a Tom Aspinall thing, you know. He hasn't shown himself in deep waters because no one is able to get him to deep waters. So this fight is extremely tough, even though I am leaning Silva, just for openings that Lopes has shown to have in the past. I can't lie and say that this is not an extremely tough fight for Gene Silva. But as of right now, I'm leaning 60-40 in favor of Gene Silva, but I think Lopes has a real good shot. Of killing the hype and gaining all his momentum back. If he takes out Gene Silva, that's all lost momentum. It's all gained back. It's literally Diego Lopes versus Volkanovski, and now it's Diego Lopes versus evil Volkanovski. Like, this boy is getting fucking razor tough ass matchups back to back. But I'm hyped for this fight. I'm gonna love it. Hopefully they build a good card around it as well. And I believe that is it. I have a few matchups I want to go over in a later fight. Probably just release that Monday, maybe Tuesday. Just a recap of going over UFC Shanghai. I want to go over that, but yeah, I think we are nearing the end of an era, of an amazing era of the fighting nerds. Carlos Prates is the first to go. Next, it will be Kyle Borralho, potentially. I think he has a very tough matchup ahead of him in Nasruddin Imavov, and I can see Nasruddin Imavov putting the hands on Kyle. Kyle does have a good shot because Nasruddin does also gas in the later rounds. But I don't know. Tough matchups ahead for all of these guys. Besides Carlos Prates, he'll probably get a win in his next fight. They'll probably give him a layup or something like that. I can't see them giving him a really tough matchup like I don't know. Who's a tough matchup for him, Well, who's that one Spanish guy? That one zesty Spanish guy. I have a thumbnail in one of my videos saying zesty Spider-Man. That guy. Something with the M. But I can't see them giving him a tough matchup like that. And this might be the end of the fighting nerds. Mauricio Rufy, I don't care what y'all say, bro. Mauricio Rufy is getting done. He's getting done in. Somebody is doing... Oh, he's doing my fucking head in, mate. Somebody's doing this guy's head in. Gene Silva, Kyle Borralho, I wish you the best. You might get popped. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm excited for tomorrow's card. I'm excited to make a recap. I'm excited to go 100%. Somebody's calling me right now, so I'm going to wrap up this video. Y'all have an amazing day. Leave a like. Where the fuck is my cursor? All right. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you want to. Thank you. Peace out.